Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how it is specifically that you should go about playing your lane and how, generally speaking, the offlane is going to be winning their lane. In my mind, there's pretty much four scenarios. Well, five if you include losing your lane, but that's not really an option. So we'll go through them one by one, and you can try and see what sort of play style fits the kind of game that you're in. So the first one is probably the most traditional and the most common, which is just that you have some kind of high kill potential lane against the hero that can be killed, and then you just kill them. Which sounds easy, but let's just see it in action first. So, not much to do. Get the rune. In this case, I ship in my salve because I'm against Witch Doctor Void, which has the potential to do quite a lot of damage to you with the Maledict, and then you have to heal back up. Not everyone levels this thing first. In this case, he does. Um, so let me just put it on that state nice. So in this lane, you need to consider the strengths and weaknesses of your heroes. Broadly speaking, there's basically four ways to win a lane. The first way is kill them. Second way is to beat them on farm, whether over a short period of time or over a long period of time. You can outscale them, or you can go gank and do other things on the map. Now, when it comes to out farming Phaser's Void, it's not very easy because he has 63 damage, I have 55 damage, and his animation is going to be better as he buys agi items, and I can't buy agi items because I'm a strength hero. There comes no point in the game where I'm really going to be out farming him, apart from maybe right now for one level, and that's not really good enough. If you look at my support matchup, yeah, it's favorable for now, but later again, if you put some points in heal, it gets a little bit difficult. Um, when it comes to outscaling him or out farming him, it's not really a great option because even if I get very farmed, if this guy manages to get to MKB, BKB, he's pretty much just going to solo win this game against Huskar and Slardar carry. So we're not really going to be winning late game or likely even mid game if the Void is fat. And they have a lot of strong mid game heroes as well, like Clock, Snap, Ember. So I don't want to be trading farm against him at all. When it comes to ganking other lanes, it's kind of a similar problem. Ember, very hard to gank. And this bot lane is not really, if you TP all the way down here just to gank, then you can't really run back up here. And Sanking's not really the best ganking hero in the world. So, pretty much as soon as the game starts, I understand that I don't have to focus so much on the last hitting. I just have to try and kill him in one way or another. So this is something that I do very commonly as well to win the lane. It's like universally a thing. You leave a creep on about 2 hits from death, and then you feign a deny. The enemy carry sees it, maybe he walks over and starts swinging, like spamming the S, right? And then you just start clicking him. You see I get like 5 free auto attacks on the Void just now because he thinks I'm about to deny this creep. Right now I tap it once, he gets the last hit, and he uses his Q. When you see situations like this where there's a lot of creeps on the enemy carry, it's a good idea to use your stuns and your spells, especially if he has no Q, because the creeps are going to do a lot of damage to him as well. I think in this case he actually manages to juke us, but you can see that we just did like 500 damage to him for free, just because he got a little bit greedy with the Q, and we're punishing him accordingly. And because the creeps are on him as well, it just makes it a little bit nicer. Again, whenever the creeps are under the tower, one of you should pressure if you can. I think in this case I just drive the creeps, so I drive the creeps over here to put the lane in a better position. For some reason they run around, but it's not a big deal really. So you can see right now he's 7 against 1 on last hits, which probably shouldn't be happening, but in terms of actually burning his regen and things, I'm not doing too badly. I still have full regen, and he's pretty much had to buy more tangos, and now we kill him. So let's just have a quick look at what happens here. First of all, if I was planning to farm, I would level Sandstorm. If I was thinking that this lane is going really, really well, and all we have to do is keep him here to kill him, I would level my W. The reason I level my E is because I don't believe that Void should die to Sand King Lina. And the reason is pretty obvious, because he can just time walk out, and he has a stick. Now, the E is going to always push the lane, but it's also going to make situations where he feels the need to time walk, and that's the only time we're really going to have kill potential. And I realized that because my Lina is trading strongly into Witch Doctor, we have control of this pool camp, and I just saw him deward this as well. So as a result, I'm going to level my E, I'm going to push out the lane, at minute 3 he can pull back, and then we can fight the Void together. And he's going to take a lot of damage either from the splash or just in general. Now in this case, I hit the creeps to set up the caustic finale. Obviously you can't do this as any other hero in the game. I stun him, my Lina's in position, and because of the way I've skilled, we managed to kill him here. From full to 0 essentially. This would never happen with Sandstorm. But it's because I understand that my role in the game is to kill Void. Now, at level 3, let me just fast forward a tiny bit here. I farmed this camp, and I finished my Bracer. Next, I buy my boots. Usually you'll see that in these games, I'm buying the components of my Veil. The reason I'm buying boots now is because I feel like if I can chase Void, if I can stun him after his time walk even, he's gonna die. So again, you have to itemize aggressively for the lane if you're planning to play aggressively. Again, I've taken 2 points in Q instead of any points in Sandstorm. A lot of people, they go 1-3-1. In this lane, I'm not really that interested in pressing Sandstorm. I just want to be killing them. I stun Witch Doctor from the range I can because of the 2 points, and now we've killed Witch Doctor as well. So from a 1 last hit versus 7 last hit lane, this has now gone to 10 versus 7. And the net worth is obviously going to be very much in my favor, as you can see. Now, as the lane gets pushed out because of Caustic Finale, well, this is the downside, right? I don't recommend... A common mistake that I see people make when they play these sort of kill lanes is that they really, really itemize and skill for just the lane. So if you're playing Leshrac against Terrorblade, for example, if you go 3-0-3-0 or 3-0-3-1, so max your Lightning Storm and take no points in Edict, you're very likely going to have a very strong lane against TB. He has very low health, you have magic damage, it's going to be great. However, there's going to come a point where TB is level 4 and he decides, fuck this, I don't want to lane against some max Storm Leshrac just spamming me out of lane, I'm going to go jungle. And then you're just going to be stuck in this lane with no points in Edict to push the tower or to do other things on the map, right? So, just because I'm winning the lane currently with my Burrow Strike and Caustic Finale, I'm anticipating that eventually this Void is going to be have enough of this, and he's going to go somewhere else or go jungle. And then I'm going to need the Sandstorm to pull the creeps into the jungle camps and farm them. Or I need to go defend the other lanes with my W. So don't just mindlessly skill into full damage builds. I see this a lot with like Bounty Hunter, where they just max their W and their Q and they take no points in invis. Sure, that's fine sometimes, or like, excuse me, or there's just a lot of heroes that people do this on, and it's really annoying. So I buy my Sage's Mask, which forms the Basilius, I believe, for my Veil. Right now, I believe my Lina goes to contest the rune, so I'm going to play slightly less aggressive. Now I start to work on my Veil. I almost have it. But you can see I call the courier anyway, because I know that I'm going to be finishing the Veil before the courier gets to me. So right now, there's a creep wave under my tower at the moment, and 99.9% of the time I would say that you should never ignore this creep wave. However, because I see the Void on my ward walking towards this large camp, and I'm level 5 with 3 points in Q, which is a 2-second stun, and we have Lina, who has a 1.6 second stun, I feel like potentially we could kill him. And if I miss a wave to kill Void, that's very good. Well, worst case scenario, I walk towards him, he gets scared, and I know they have vision here, and I know I can run to this creep wave. However, he doesn't get scared, he in fact keeps walking forwards. So we let him use the time walk. Because of the 3 points, I'm outranging him. Because of the boots, I'm just running at him. Right, I have move speed advantage. And we end up getting this kill, and that's it. His fucking game is over. He's really tilted. He TV's bot. Right, he's had enough of this lane. And at this point, I finish my Veil. We start to push the catapult with the... tower with the catapult. We run in here, we kill a snap, if I remember correctly. Yeah. We take the tower. And now I TP bot to kill the void again. We fail in this case. However, because at least I've taken 2 points in Sandstorm, it means that, or in this case 3 points in Sandstorm, now I can play as Sand King normally plays in the mid game. Like if you imagine I have 4 points in this, 3 points in this, then I can't actually play down here very effectively. They're just going to run at me and kill me. But because I've I've hedged my bets on the skills, you see I can still farm with the Sandstorm, I can still defend towers safely, and I still won my lane. So only take as many points as you need to win the lane. The other example I was thinking of is Monkey King, by the way. I see a lot of people, especially low MMR, they are having a good lane as Monkey King against a melee hero, and they go 4-0-4. And then eventually the other guy is just like, I don't want to play against some 4-0-4 monkey, and they just leave the lane, and then you can't farm because the tree dance is your main farming tool. So I really think you should always try and put a few points in your farming, or the skill that you're going to need in the mid game before the mid game arrives. Now, the next main category is outscaling your opponents. Now, in this case, I'm playing Doom, who is naturally a strong farmer because he has Devour. If you look at this spell, at max level, it's like 70 cooldown, 200 gold. It's like you have an extra 160 GPM against every other hero in the game. Plus, you're going to be instantly killing the creep. So let's just call it 200 GPM. 200 GPM is a lot, especially in lane. So as long as I don't die against Chen plus TB, eventually I'm going to have a bunch of items, and eventually we're going to win the game. So I start off, whenever you play like this, you want to be playing very defensive and you want to be playing very greedy. So because I'm playing defensive, I bought Ring of Protection, Gauntlets of Strength. I haven't bought any like Orb of Venom or Wind Lace or anything like that. And my main objective is to survive. So you can see I'm not even attempting to make trades on him, and I'm just focusing on last hitting because it's the only thing that really matters. And I can accept that TB is going to get a lot of free farm as well, but my free farm is more free essentially. So if we just fast forward, you see very little interaction between me and TB. I can click him anytime, but he has 11 armor, and it's really not going to do anything. I even take a point in Scorched Earth, you know, like, it's not really going to do much unless we get some perfect initiation. In this case, I Scorched Earth the Chen a little bit, but you can see, like, even then, the trade doesn't really work out too well for us. It just does a little bit of harassment damage, and they're healing up a lot with the aura and the headdress. But you can see that I'm winning on last hits. I'm probably winning a lot on net worth. I'm 1600 against 1400. And we go on the Chen here. I eat his creep. And now I'm going to be cutting waves into the large camp just to accelerate my farm. Right, I'm going to last hit this large creep.
One by one, they fall.
And my Lina is basically fighting the Chen 1v1 while I farm and I Devour. I think in this case I held the Devour a little bit because I knew Chen would have a small creep, and level 1 Devour is not that much gold anyway. So it's not too bad if you hold it for a long period of time. You can see I'm running the creeps around to make sure the creeps don't go under my tower and the wave bounces back to TB so I can farm safely. I finally got 2 points in my queue, so I decided to use it at that point. And you can see at minute 5, I'm leading the TB pretty heavily on CS and net worth. And it is pretty heavily because TB is actually a very strong farm as well, and he's going to be jungling. So if we continue the game, you can see that I basically itemized to stay alive. I have 2 braces. I'm going to have my phase boots. It's very hard for them to kill me. It's very hard for them to gank me. We push down the tower. I'm still cutting waves into the jungle just to maximize my farm. And we can pretty much pause the game here because the lane has ended. I'm 3400, 3500 gold. I have phase boost, 2 bracers. It's very hard for them to kill me. I'm level 6, right? And I've pushed TB out of his lane. We have bot tower. So this is, in my opinion, quite a quite a successful lane. And you basically just have to be patient. You have to understand that you're playing the weaker hero, and you have to just try and stay alive, essentially. Common examples are like Doom, um, Magnus, um, those sort of farming heroes, right? Bounty Hunter as well. You just slowly chip them down. The next example I'm going to show is a case where you're going to beat them not just passively, but actively by denying them a lot and leveraging your damage advantage on them, essentially. Now, in this case, I'm playing Mars against Juggernaut. Now, the strength of Juggernaut is that with the Blade Fury, he can deal out a lot of damage for a carry, obviously. He also has an Omni Knight in his lane. Now, this is quite a, I'd say that this is quite a new trend, Omni Knight pulse 5. Um, People like to pair it with like Spectre or something. It's like the old Warlock plus Spectre combos, but I think Omni Knight is quite good right now because it counters PA and it counters a lot of these annoying heroes, and the Heavenly Grace is very strong. So, knowing this, I'm probably not really going to be killing them in lane. Jug is already very good against Mars because he can just go Magic Immune whenever you put up the War, which is Mars's main kill threat. He has very high armor against the W. You can't really buy Orb of Venom against him. You can just spin out, and our lane has a little bit of difficulty killing the Healing Ward as well. Plus, Phoenix is not the strongest lane against Omni. He's going to sustain through a lot of the burns.
May the light keep you.
Knowing this, my only real advantage against Jug is the fact that I have 61 base damage and he has 53 base damage. Pretty big advantage, right? So you can see, I'm trying not to fight them too much, just do a little bit of chip damage, right? Because this is not really where the lane is going to be won. You can see that I did a little bit of damage, he basically tangoed it up, and this guy, just one tango. So he used one tango, essentially we just burned the one tango. It's not a big deal. So you can see that I'm positioning to be aggressive on the Juggernaut, and I wouldn't say as a direct result, but partly, this Jug is now not having a very good lane. He has 2 last hits in the first wave. I'm going to aggro these onto the range, I'm going to try at least. Right, I did it that time. And I start to click him. This is what I was talking about earlier as well. Like, he can take a ranged last hit, but I get 2 or 3 auto attacks on him. That's not too bad in my opinion. And now that I buy my bracer and my salve, my damage is really a lot better than his at this point. Before, he still has a lot of attack speed advantage on me just because he's playing Jug and I'm playing Mars. But if I have something like 10 extra damage, it's not really going to be too relevant. So in this case, they go aggressive on me. He kills my courier. It's not a big deal. We run at him. Somehow they die here, which is really just kind of a mystery to me. But whatever, right? We get the pull off, and you can see I'm immediately buying another bracer because I just want to have so much damage that this guy can't last hit in his lane, which is very good. 2 attacks and the range is denied. That one is denied as well, and you see he's already struggling to last hit. He's hitting for 55, I'm hitting for 70. You don't always have to get the denies. Sometimes you just hit them, and it throws them out of sync, I guess you can call it. Or you make it so the last hit goes to the creeps, or that it's impossible, or that it's awkward, or you just fake your animation a lot and they get paranoid and they make an attack by accident. There's a lot of little things you can do to make the carry's life difficult. Just fast forward a little bit more here, get the pull off. See that I have let me just see. I buy the chainmail next, just because it's clicking a lot. Now I buy the Blades of Attack as well. I'd say this is a good time to stop the replay, I guess. Right now I have 14 deniers. Jug has 33 last hits. A lot of these are small camp last hits. You can see in the net worth, he's fallen really quite far behind. If we fast forward this to 10 minutes in, for example, is usually when I consider the lane to be over. You can see that Jug really does not have a really good lane. 3300 gold is quite bad. 51 last hits is fine, I guess, but he's doing a lot of jungles. I have 63 last hits, 20 denies, 3 kills, 4500 gold. So if you're playing a hero with a lot of extra attack damage but you can't really kill them, I recommend that you just focus on last hitting. You buy a lot of braces, you buy the Blades of Attack early. Common heroes for this: Mars, Legion Commander, really strong stats, Kentar, Kentar Warrunner, Beastmaster, I guess, if you're not really in the kill lane. Doom is fine, Tiny, but you can think of other examples, I'm sure. Underlord, that's the one. So the next one I wanted to show was this Magnus hero. Now, this is what I would consider a utility hero, I suppose. So let me see if I can find the replay. So the thing about Magnus is that he's not really a very, very strong laner. I think I can show 2 replays for this actually, because this is 2 slightly separate cases. So the thing about Magnus, he's not a strong laner. He doesn't do that much damage. His attack speed is really, really bad. His spells are not great, really. But he does have Empower, which is like a free Battle Fury for your carry. So let's just see how this goes, right? Sven, quite a strong laner, high damage, high armor. Doesn't really care if Magnus cleaves into him or attacks him or whatever. Doesn't give a shit. Bane, very strong laner, obviously. Tiny, very weak laner. Magnus, very weak lane. So we have a very weak lane. So the first thing is, if you have a weak lane, it's something that you need to recognize, and it's something you need to play around. So we get a lucky first blood there. It's not really a big deal. You see that again, whenever I buy items, I make sure I buy out. So right at this point, I buy the Bracer, the Salve, and an Iron Branch. And a lot of people wouldn't buy the Iron Branch, I suppose. But if I have an extra 50 gold to spend and I'm using the courier, I want to try and get that number to as close as 0 as possible, reasonably, without buying just random shit. And I want all my 1000 net worth to be in play. A lot of people, they get first blood and then they don't buy anything, so it's like you didn't even get first blood. You can see that in this lane, because I understand that this guy is really not going to get harassed out very easily. I've opted for the Q, just to contest some range creep CS, if it comes to that, I suppose. You can see I'm pretty much, it's like similar to the last game, or the Doom game, I suppose. I'm not really contesting too hard. I'm just using my Q to defend my creeps. We take a decent trade here. It's not too bad. We have a lot of creeps now, so we can play a little bit more aggressive. It's 4 against 3 last hits. Not really strong like another, I suppose. Do the skewer combo on the Bane to get a kill, which is nice. Getting a lot of free kills in this lane. I'm 1-0-1. Probably shouldn't be. But see, I go for the double bracer again. This time it's more of like a survival thing than a last hitting thing. I just want to be able to stay in this lane for a long time without spending too much regen. Because they're going to be poking me all the time. A big part of how much regen you need is the position 4 versus position 5 matchup. In this case, it's a complete stomp. Bane is always going to trade well into Tiny. Tiny's never really going to tank hits for me or anything, so I need a lot of regen in this case, and I'm buying braces. See, I'm trying to deny the Sven as much as possible, but really it's not going amazingly in terms of last hits, right? 15, 25 against 17. And, you know, it's not too bad, but he has 7 denies. Overall, I'd say that he's winning this lane quite hard. I'm still winning on net worth just because of the kills I've gotten, but you see here, I pretty much give up on the lane and I start to cut the wave instead. I'm here to TP out. Now, right now, what you need to understand is that you're kind of like a support at this point, right? I bought double bracer and a soul ring, and I'm just gonna tank people. But if I run back to this lane, all that's gonna happen is I'm gonna get beat the shit out of by Sven. So I decided enough is enough, right? I'm just gonna stack some camps instead. I stack this and I stack this. It's something that you should always do as Magnus, and then the lane pushes in, right? And I'm here just to collect the XP, but I don't need to fight Sven anymore. Because the time has passed for that, right? He's like just way too strong. Like, I think right now I try and see what happens. He walks up to me and he pretty much fucking halves my HP in 3 hits. And he's just denying every creep. He hits for like 200. I hit for 150. It's really like, it's just playable like this. So I'm pretty much just gonna farm at my tower. I'm gonna TP around to help my teammates if the situation demands it. And I'm just going to be trying to stack as many camps as I can. Right now, I can't make it to the Ancients, so I'm just going to stack this one little sad hard camp, but I'm going to take the bounty runes. I'm just going to play like a utility hero. I'm going to sit behind my Ricky, and I'm going to empower him. We're going to put the tower together. I'm going to use my big health pool to basically tank in front. Now I'm basically going in to stop their push, and now I'm running back bot probably to empower my Ricky again. And now I'm going to stack the camps again. I stack this, I stack this. I run back bot, I empower this guy. I sit in front of my Lina. Do a little bit of fighting here. I think I end up getting caught here. Yep. But you can see, I was on 44 last hits at minute 10, and I'm pretty much still on 44 last hits. I'm going to run over here, I'm going to stack this camp. I'm going to grab the rune. I'm going to empower my Ricky. I go push out a lane or two. I'm just going to farm the enemy jungle aggressively. Something that isn't very safe farm, but I'm not really that relevant hero, and I'm going to stack the camp again. So you can see that in this game, you know, I'm on 69 last hits. Sven's on 153, but I think we're winning the game. Like, he's 8,000 net worth on Sven. I'm 5,400. I'm losing to Mars, I suppose. But I have this massive, massive stack. This is like a ×3 stack. This is like a ×4 stack. And when my Ricky farms it, he's going to be like 12k net worth, and we're going to win the game. So sometimes, you know, you can play to help your teammates. You can play more like a support. You can see I wasn't really taking any of the last hits, and that's why my Lesh and my Ricky are so farmed. If I was just farming waves, these guys wouldn't have 100 last hits and 132 last hits. They'd have like 80 or something. I've pretty much all my last hits just come from like enemy jungle camps, and I just sit behind people and I TP into defend towers, and otherwise I'm stacking. So if you have to play more as like a support, that's the sort of mentality you have to take. In this final example, or the final case, like major case, would be if you're playing a kind of hero that is not, he doesn't really fit into any of the categories. Like you can't kill them, you can't outlast hit them, you can't scale past them. Good examples of heroes that scale, by the way: Magnus, Enigma, Beastmaster, like these kind of farming heroes that eventually they're just gonna like destroy the enemy team. So it's like you're playing a carry in that case. So in this game, I'm playing Spirit Breaker offlane against PA plus Lich, I think it was. Yeah. Can we outlast hit them? I guess. I mean, it's possible, right? But the problem is I hit once every 1.58 seconds, which is kind of awful. Like, it's not really reasonable, and they're agi heroes. So whenever you're playing these like big damage, slow attack speed heroes, like you wouldn't play Treant offlane and be like, I'm gonna deny 82 creeps. It's just never gonna happen. You attack once every 9 years. I can't kill them reasonably. Spirit Breaker's not really a high damage hero, plus PA's got the evasion, so I can barely bash him, right? Like, he puts 1 point in this, it's 20%, and then my bash percent is like down to 10% or something. It's really hard. They also have Frost Shield. Who's my support duo in this case? It's Morana. I mean, it's okay, but it's not the highest damage possible in the game, and it's unreliable. Like, I can't really set up the stun for him too easily. Um, am I going to be scaling really hard out of control as a Spirit Breaker? I don't think so, right? Like, it's not really a hero that just you get level 7 and you win the game on. So, in this case, you're going to have to come up with a alternative strategy. So, I pretty much play the lane as normal, if I remember correctly. I think we might even end up getting a kill or two, just luckily. You can see that the last hit department is not going too great for me. Mining as well, right? We tried to kill him, we failed. I blame my partner. They trade very, very strongly into me, just because they're agi heroes. I'm basically just trying to do a little bit of chip damage whenever possible. But you can see it's not going great, 24 against 18. And he's also ahead on XP, if I remember correctly. Yeah, by a little bit. I buy the Gloves of Haste and the Bracer just to try to fight him on CS a little bit better. That is one thing that I'll say though. If you have categorized yourself into a way of winning the lane, don't be afraid to try a little bit of the other things. Like, just because you're in like a very slow last hitting lane doesn't mean you shouldn't try to kill them. Don't be like, oh, I can't kill them, so the opportunity presents itself and then I'm just not going to press any buttons. Don't like completely pigeonhole yourself, right? Like, I was playing Doom and there are cases where I can kill them and I'll just go for it. Same as if I'm playing a kill lane and I can just outlast hit them, I'll buy some items and I'll do that as well. It's like fine. So right now I'm in a lane where I'm probably going to want to gank the side lanes. But if I can buy Gloves of Haste and Bracer, and I can leverage a little bit of last hitting against him, like I have 10 denies, right? That's something that is fine to do. Like, this combo is just kind of hard to hit, I suppose. The charge into arrow, because we fail it quite a few times. You end up getting killed, like I said. You know, whenever you see someone just a little bit out of position, you can always punish them. Whenever you see an opportunity to outlast it someone, you should go for it. It's quite obvious, but I know some people, they really fuck themselves up. Especially when they play something like Bounty Hunter, all they're thinking about is, I have to hit the enemy carry and take their gold, but, you know, you can be killing their support or something short and toss. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. It doesn't sound normal, and that's because it isn't, but... So, I'm gonna go ahead and skip a little bit of this game, because I think nothing good happens in it until minute 13. So minute 13, I died a few times. I got my Midas. And I think from this point onwards, we start to have a little bit more success on the map. So I charge the Slardar, we run at him, we kill him. Right? I charge the Clinks, it's not worth it, but we gather 4 heroes around, so it creates space elsewhere on the map. I charge down here on the Slardar again, we end up hitting an arrow on him. Big fight ends up happening, I think the Slardar ends up dying. I ult the PA, I charge through him, now we're running at the PA as well, for the PA. And we find the Rubik, so this is a full team wipe. I charge out, I think he continues to run at me, I'm just making a little bit of space here. Look how long they run at me, actually, so it's charging around like a fucking maniac. I respawn, I charge top. I think they do I charge through them. I charge here. I let my Corrosive Haze run out. Then I charge bolt again for another fight. They go on me. I survive on 1 HP. And I'm charging again. Now they're all dead again. There's 5 people. I get my charge cancelled. I charge to another fight. Again, they go on me and he's dead. I charge for Clinks to catch him. We end up killing 4 people again. So I charge over here, we kill the Lich. So my advice is, the heroes that commonly play like this are like Spirit Breaker, not a very common pick nowadays, but you know, go off. Spirit Breaker, Clockwork, very common. Mars, kind of. Void Spirit, kind of. And you can gank earlier than this as well. In this case, I'm showing you minute 13 because my earlier attempts kind of failed. I suppose I should show it just to show what I mean. But essentially, you're not really going to win the lane very hard in any way. But your hero is one that initiates a lot of different fights, and you're going to be killing the side lanes a lot, and you're going to be winning elsewhere on the map. So I think in this game, after the PA TP's bot, he TP's bot, right? And I think I TP bot to try and fight. So in this case, I'm going on the Slardar, but they end up killing me. But this is something that could work, right? You TP bot and you kill the enemy offlaner. You can do this a lot as Clockwork against like Slardar or something. I charge mid to try and kill this Clinks as well. This was so fucking ridiculous. I get crushed. I try again. And then he survives on 24 health. Like, that's just fucking absurd. But you see, that could work in like another game, right? You play Clockwork, you run behind, and you play like a position 4 and you gank their mid lane or something. And I got really tilted at this point, and I bought Midas. But that's not really the point, right? Like, you can always try these sorts of ganks. Well, I was gonna buy Midas anyway, I was tilted. See, like, this is one that works. But yeah, if you like to play these sort of position 4 heroes like Clockwork and Pudge and whatever, and you're playing the position 3 role, you can always just pick something that's basically running around the map and ganking. So, in summary, before you get into a game, you should always look at what your sort of objectives are for winning the lane and play accordingly to it. If you're playing like a kill hero and you're trying to farm, you're fucking stupid. If you're trying to play a farm hero and you're trying to kill, you're stupid. But always adjust for what's actually happening on your screen. Don't just be like, oh, I have to farm all the time. If you see that they're playing like complete shit, you should punish them. If you're playing like complete shit, maybe take a step back and try and play a little bit more defensive than you have to.